Hello there. Welcome back to the Build Show. Kyril, welcome to the Build Show. I heard that today might be the day. Pat, welcome back to the Build Show, sir. Cole Marksman, welcome back to the Build Show. Today, I am your host, Ben Estrino, over here at the Empower Gaming Studio, where we build lots and lots of computers. And today, you guessed it, we're building a computer. We're going to start off with Jamie's PC, number 35, on the year 2025. So this is build number 35. Just to run through the parts list really quick, and we'll jump right into it. I mean, we've got 2 PCs to build tonight, so it is going to be a little bit of a late one. Sorry, Kyril. I apologize that we're probably going to go pretty late on this one. But to start off with the build today, not that I really need my cheat sheet, it's all here in front of me. The Ryzen 5 4500, which has got 6 cores, 12 threads, and a max boost of 4.1 gigahertz. We've also got a Thermalright Assassin X120 for the CPU cooler. Originally, this was supposed to be an AMD Wraith Stealth cooler. It's one of our budget builds on our website. So if you know the builds on our website, this is the budget box. I've been just straight up replacing anybody that's selecting the Wraith Stealth heatsink as an option with the Assassin X120. Just straight up, no excuse. He's a third shifter. Late is 8 a.m. Gotcha. It's good to know. Welcome back to the Build Show, Army Vet. It's good to know. So 16 gigs of DDR4, 3200 RAM. We also have a 1 terabyte SSD here. The RAM is by T-Force or Team Group, which is their T-Force Vulcan Z, and the SSD is a Silicon Power Gen 3 SSD. This is the A60 if you're looking up a model. We've also got the MSI B550 motherboard, and generally with these builds, we typically would do a B450, but because of the availability of B450s, they're becoming harder to get, and it just makes more sense to go with the B550, giving a better future upgrade path with PCIe 4.0 capability on this board. So we're going with B550s now, B550Ms, for the B450Ms that we originally were running, until that's a problem, or until we have to continue to upgrade. The graphics card we're going to be running in this system is a GTX 1660 Super by Zotac, which is this box over here. It came directly from Zotac. And the case that we're going to be running is, I wonder if we got the Okinawa Aqua 3. So the case, it's a great case. It has a lot of cool features for its small build. Onra, welcome back to the Build Show. What's up? Finally, Twitch notifications worked. Awesome. I am glad that they worked. And then we have a 500 watt power supply for the build. So that is the build for the first build for tonight. The second build is going to be Kyril's build that's over there in the Twitch chat, and that's going to be build number 36 with a 5070 Ti if you want to hang out for this. This build should take about 45 minutes to an hour if I go heads down. I should have this done and wrapped up by about 10:30, and then we'll tackle Kyril's build, which will take us on to about 12:30 tonight, I think. Estimated. Guesstimation timed. Roughly. Depends on all the questions and things that happen, or if there's any issues. You know, standard build procedure timing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. I don't know if Jamie's going to be joining us. This is actually a build for, I believe, one of her kids, her son, I believe. We chatted very briefly about this build. So there wasn't a lot of information exchanged back and forth, but I believe this is for her son. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get started. Already got the board out of the box. I do need the back plate. There's just information on the box I didn't want shared on the exterior of it. Not that it really matters. Okay, so we're going to get started with these. Oh yeah, and we do have some bottom fans that we're going to add to the bottom of the case as well. And they're just black 15 millimeter case fans to help with the intake of the case airflow. Yeah, just start talking about bad PC delivering stories and it will be 1 a.m. Yeah. Don't get me started on that stuff. Man, aim 4 for the win. That is right. We are running aim 4 for this build tonight. We are going to have a second build tonight, which is going to be an aim 5 build for Kyril, who's over in the Twitch chat. Hope I'm saying his name right. I always wonder if I'm saying it right. I think I am. All right, so starting off with the Ryzen 5 4500. It's a great 6-core processor. I'm just gonna position the board here so we can see all the things. So we've socketed the CPU. Now we'll drop the RAM into slots A2 and B2, which is going to be this guy, for some dual channel action with two 8GB sticks, total of 16. And that's a Team Group RAM. And then we're going to do a 1TB M.2 NVMe SSD by Silicon Power, which is a Gen 3 SSD, which is the A60 by Silicon Power. We're going to drop this right here into the top slots. Here we are. Now that that's done, we can move on to the heatsink. What can cause a boot error code on a motherboard I cleared CMOS? Should I reseat the RAM? What kind of code are you getting? Cause a boot error code. Boot error code. Is there a code number? Like, does it have a little LED that shows you the code? Or is it just a CPU, RAM, VGA, post, or boot error? Just a little LED light indicator thingamabopper thing. And Noah over on Facebook, and Sam, thank you for the follow and the like over there. Appreciate you. That was at the beginning of the stream there. Only thing left for my little Nova build will be the AIO. Well, I had a feeling that you had replaced that. I don't know why. Maybe I'm thinking of Army Vet. Because I think he replaced his. It's a boot, CPU, VGA, RAM, LED. Which one is the boot? Which LED is on? Out of those 4. Sorry, I meant to ask that. And if it's on the boot light, that means it should be just booting. What that should mean. Nice. That's a first. Hey, what's up, Oysterhead? Welcome back to the Build Show, sir. Loop, over there on Kick. Welcome back to the Build Show, sir. No display. You got a boot? Yeah, it should be trying to boot then, is what it should be trying to do. Can you verify your monitors functioning? That would mean that it passed the CPU, the RAM, and the VGA test under the power on self-test, and it's trying to boot. What it should mean, anyway. I had the issue, Ant-Man, when my RAM wouldn't boot. The XMP overclock mode. You said you already reset the BIOS? I think you mentioned that too. Should I reset the RAM? Oh, try resetting the BIOS. You said the RAM. Try, you could try to reseat the RAM, yeah? Oh, you did. Motherboard, I cleared the CMOS. That's right. You already said that. If you cleared the CMOS, maybe try unplugging the power cord and pulling the watch battery, this guy, and then let it sit for about 60 seconds or so, and then plug the battery back in, plug the power cord back in, and then try to fire it up. I've seen that before also, and I can't remember what we did, but it was on an AM4 platform, but it was on I think an X470 board is when I saw that a lot with AM4, and that was with older, like 2000 series CPUs, you know, like the 2600 or the 2700, etc. So that was a common problem with AM4 boards in the 350, X370, B450, X470 era. So I would shut it down, pull the power cord, pull the battery, let it sit for about 60 seconds, put the battery back in, plug the power cord back in, and see what it does then. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Jesse? Welcome back to the Build Show. Long time no see. Do. I have to purchase some more smaller zip ties. We are running low. These older ones keep breaking on me. The ones that have been sitting here forever. Although that one made a liar out of me. You're right, LOL. See how that goes. These smaller zip ties have been breaking on me, but I've had them for well over a year. It was like a 2,000 pack. It's a huge bag. And it's almost gone. I mean, it's almost empty. So, it's just a matter of, I feel terrible throwing them away because there's probably about 100 left. Almost got through them all. I should just buy another pack so I don't deal with it. I hate dealing with stupid stuff like that. Especially if it's avoidable. Avoidable. Yeah. Alright, let's get the case out now that we're ready for that. The Okinawa's Aqua 3. This why I like PC gaming on console. You would have to send it in to take it to a repair shop. Yeah. Or you just need to know somebody that knows it. Those are good friends to have. Those are the types of friends that you should occasionally bring a case of beer to, you know? All right. Do. We need some studs here for the full-size micro ATX motherboard. I don't remember them coming in a box before, but it comes in a nice accessories box now. The hardware. The hardware for the build, for the case. Just need to move that one stud down, and then we need two more studs off to the side there. Do 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 do. Ben, do you know if RGB software will pick up the King 95 RGB and let you customize lights, or am I stuck with what the reset button provides? Yes, it does have a sync cable. The King 95 Pro does have a 5-volt 3-pin RGB cable in there from the case. So you should be able to plug that into your motherboard or plug it into a splitter with other things that are plugged into it, or a hub. But yes, you definitely should be able to. You definitely should be able to synchronize that to your motherboard and then use your motherboard software. It's just going to be in the back there, so you'll have to find it. It's going to be a cable coming from the front panel. So just follow that, and you'll probably locate it. Sweet, I haven't been able to do that yet due to the Lenovo. Yeah. You will be able to do that, sir. Soon. Ah. You check out the new Flash Tank Okinawa's case, or the fish tank? Yes. I did see that. It looks pretty cool. We'll probably be building with it soon. But yeah, it does look cool. The Mirage 2. What are the build specs for this build? Oh crap, that's one thing I didn't update. I knew I was forgetting something as I was rushing to get the stream started. This is an AIM 5, or I'm sorry, an AIM 4 Ryzen 5 4500 on a MSI B550M Pro VDH, 16 gigs of DDR4 3200 CL16 by Team Group, which is the T-Force Vulcan Z. 1 terabyte M.2 NVMe SSD, which is a Gen 3 drive. Basically because this is 1, the budget box. 2, the CPU doesn't even support PCIe 4.0 yet. Then we have a Thermalright Peerless Assassin, or gosh, dang it. We have a Thermalright Assassin X120 SE, ARGB in black, cooling the CPU in the Okinawa's Aqua 3 case with some additional fans that we'll add to the bottom for some added intake, which are just black fans. And then we have a GTX 1660 Super for the graphics card and a 500 watt power supply. So it's a nice, really nice budget build is what it comes down to. April 8th is coming. Really good price, 55 SUD US dollars. Gotcha. Yeah, I know. Yeah, they look like they're really good cases for the price. And I do have to update, I'll update the build specs when we switch over to the next build number 2, which is going to be build number 36 for the year. Oh. Pretty close. Huh. It is pretty much dead on. You know what happened? This is exactly the same build that we did for Linda. That's why. Same build, except I forgot to change the inventory specifications, the name inventory, To Linda? So it is actually right. For the record, I did not change that. That was purely by mistake. But I'll take it as a W, right? You got to take the small ones, you know? They add up. But it's good to know that I didn't update it since Linda's build, which was number 33. We missed one. Okay, with that being done, we can go ahead and get our front panel stuff connected. All the front panel stuff. Such as this addressable RGB cable. We're going to run it down this way. I'm 99.9% sure it's right there. Then we're going to run these down here as well. Sneak up here. A little sneak. A USB-C up here, I know that for sure. 3 there, and then we know where everything else is. These B550M boards by MSI are also way more fitting for a case like this because it has front panel USB-C, and these boards have the front panel USB-C headers. So makes better use of the case with this motherboard. There we have it. All of our front panel connectors are connected. Now, we can actually put these fans in real quick. And since we just did this with Linda's PC build, we should be pretty well versed in installing these thin 15mm fans. Why do I put thin 15mm fans in here? It's for the clearance of a bigger future graphics card. Although I'm afraid These ones actually don't come with the screws versus the other fans that did, which is interesting. Very interesting. Oh, there we go. See if we can run these. I gotta look for another screw for these. I wonder. Nope. Not enough. Nope. They're just too long. What are those? Could cut some screws or just go get some different ones. Might have to do that. I don't know. Let me put the power supply in and see how deep it's going to be. I thought these would work, but they're a little too long. Sometimes that happens. I just need to buy the right size screw and have a bunch of them here, since these are becoming more and more common. You know. Rolling with the punches like normal. Might have enough clearance. We'll see. We sure have the clearance on the front side, so we could just at least get these two screws in there for now. And then I'm just going to have to order some screws that fit this situation. Have those on hand. Is what it is. The last fans we did had the screws included. So we could mount it no problem. It does elevate the clearance on those though, so I'm not too thrilled about that. So I'd rather just have the right size screws for 15 millimeters on the bottom. So I'll find those and order them. But this will work. So I've got enough of the screws in that it's going to hold these fans in place. They're not going to go anywhere. Since we're already here, let's go ahead and wire up the power supply. And we'll punch these out and drop the GPU in. If the GPU is 2.5 slots, regular fan is going to work, yes. But it also depends on where the slot is on the motherboard. So, this particular motherboard, I didn't know it was so blurry, but this particular motherboard has the slot all the way at the highest point it could be at the top PCI slot in the back, which means there's more clearance. Other motherboards are generally one slot down, which gets you closer to these fans. So if it's a 2-slot card, or slightly over a 2-slot card, which a lot of cards are, it will run into those fans, and there wouldn't be enough clearance. So that is why I go with the 15mm thickness on these cases. It makes sure that there's enough clearance, because I don't want fan on top of fan like that. That's going to create some weird pressure. You need a little bit of space in between, and I'd rather have more than less. Here's our Zotac GTX 1660 Super. Another box. There we are. Pretty clean. Pretty clean little setup. But yes, and with this motherboard, it would clear 120mm 25 by 25mm fans. Yes. In this current situation, it would. What I'm worried about is the future upgrades and those fans being in the way. Hey Dodger84, thank you for the follow over there on Twitch. Welcome to the Build Show. If I could guess, are you a Dodger fan from 1984? Didn't realize that cable was so twisted up. Almost worth taking it back apart. Not bad for a quick table build. Weird. Nice. Looks like a gaming PC to me. Do you think it'll game? What do you guys think? What do you think this thing's gonna do? A nice budget-friendly GTX 1660 Super Ryzen 5 build. Does it have the balls to play Crysis? Is that what we'll use these days now? I'm joking. Does it run Cyberpunk? The answer is yes. It will run Cyberpunk. It'll be limited in higher graphics settings, since that's mostly a single-player game, to about 30 FPS on higher extreme settings in 1080p. 30 FPS is not the greatest, but you could lower the settings and definitely achieve 60 FPS with this in Cyberpunk. But that was my last benchmark. Cold, nice, hope so. LOL. Yeah. No, it'll run pretty much everything out there. Anything out there today, it'll run it. All right, since Jamie is not here, you guys want to do the honors? Somebody want to do the honors and tell us to push that button, punch it, fire it up, start the RGB tan process. Let's do it. Anybody? Always as Valve Tech. Always as Valve teach me. Ready. Three. Start the engine. Start thy engine. 2, 1. Fire. We've got those top fans too. They're RGBing. Is it really this? That is actually reflecting all the way over there. Go over there. Light it up. It's alive! Welcome, Matt. Welcome back to the Build Show. And we do have a post. Going into the BIOS right now. There we go. We've posted. The white boot light is on. Quick build, awesome. Thank you, Loop. I've got one more build for us tonight. Since Jamie's is built and posted and ready to move on to the next bench for Windows and drivers and BIOS, and then ultimately ready for pickup because it's a local customer for this one. But we have another local customer that's not as local. Tyrell, are you ready for your build? Ready to watch the next build? I think we have to do it. Shut this down. Yes, sir. He's been waiting for this one. We're going to flip it back to top down, and then we're going to start your build. So, his build's pretty heavy. Oh. Anybody want to guess what this build is? A little reflective. What's going on? I feel like the camera's a little off. I need a little bit more space for this build. The part that held us up. Of course. Yeah. There you go. Based on that, it's a 9800 X3D and a 5070 Ti. Yes, sir. Gorgeous motherboard, too, I know. We picked a pretty good one. And we got the Gigabyte motherboard with the Gigabyte graphics card. Beautiful aesthetics. Beast mode build. Yeah, we went from budget to a little more extreme. It's quite the change in build tempo. The case? Oh, the case. Yeah, the case. The case is a King 95 Pro. That should be jumping out of his boots here. 1000 watt 40. Oh, you guessed a 4090. Dang, it's a 5070 Ti. 5070 Ti, which does make a difference. The Ti is about a $500 difference. Which now, of course, NVIDIA is like, hey, we're cutting our prices. Probably only going to happen to the Founders Edition cards. It is a black King 95 Pro is what we're going to be building in. So it'll be black. But I'll run through all of the parts here so that everybody knows. If you'd like, I can update the build command so that when you type in !build, it spits out the correct hardware. Right now it is incorrect for this build. But we'll run through the hardware right now. It's a Ryzen 7 9800 X3D, which has 8 cores, 16 threads, and a maximum boost of 5.2 gigahertz out of the box with its 3D V-Cache technology by AMD. This is a Thermalright's AM5 contact frame that we're going to be building with over here. And then we also have a Arctic Liquid Freezer 3 in black, which we're going to replace the fans with the AX120s by Montech on the cooler so that they're matching the King 95 fans. They're all matching, so it'll be a very cool looking build with all matching fans in the build. The downside is right now there is a huge shortage of Liquid Freezer 3s. So this is not the ARGB version, which means the block will not glow. I'm sorry. But that is the only way we could have gotten this cooler, and this cooler is still, for, if you look at performance, one of the leading AM5 coolers out there on the market. So I'd rather have this cooler without the RGB cooling this CPU because I know it's going to do a good job and it's a very reliable cooler. Hey, what's up? Welcome to the build show. Nice specs, gonna be a killer rig. Yes, yes it is. 32 gigs of DDR5 6000 CL30 dual channel, two 16 gig sticks, G.Skill Trident Z Neo RGB. So it's an AMD Expo certified kit. So I'll be running AMD Expo on the B850 Aorus Elite Wi-Fi 7 motherboard. This is a great board. The aesthetics are awesome looking, and it offers a lot of newer features from 2025. And the price isn't too bad. It's not too far off of a B650 like the Gaming X AX V2. It's a little more expensive. I will say $50 to $80, somewhere in that price range, a little bit more, depending on what you're getting the B650 for, which I've seen you can get it as low as like $149 or $139 right now, which is a great deal. And then we've got two SSDs we're going to be running. We have a 512 gigabyte boot drive by Team Group, which is an MP44L. That's going to be our Windows drive. And then we have an additional 4 terabyte M.2 NVMe Gen 4 Team Group MP44. So Windows is going to be on the MP44L, and then his plan is to install all of his games on the MP44 4 terabyte SSD. So he wanted it split, and we aren't going to do a partition split. We are going to just do a physical split like this. And then we have the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5070 Ti. Again, we went with Gigabyte to match the Gigabyte motherboard. So the aesthetics are going to be nice. The software is going to be nice because we'll be able to control both from the Gigabyte Control Center, and it will simplify the build and the control from for Chiral by doing so. Next is the 1050 watt 80 plus gold power supply that we're running, which is over here in the corner. This is by Thermaltake. It is overkill for this graphics card, but what this means is it will allow him to upgrade the graphics card later without having to upgrade the power supply as well. So there's a little bit of wiggle room there, a lot of it, probably. But I do prefer the bigger power supplies once we start getting into a 5070 Ti, just because I don't like getting really close. Like, you could run like a 750 watt with this, but I don't like doing that because that's pretty much going to put it at its top, especially with the CPU. The CPU is a little bit more power hungry. It's more efficient, but it's power hungry, more efficient than its older version. But it's a power hungry CPU, and I'd rather leave the wiggle room and have the extra availability for upgrades. So that's why we go with bigger power supplies, try to. And then gold definitely is a must for this build. But that's pretty much it outside of the King 95 Pro with the 6 fans that are the 6 fans, which are 2 140s on the side, 3 120s on the bottom, reversed on the side, reversed on the bottom, and then a 120 in the rear. And then we'll have the same fans, 120s across the cooler, so it's going to look really nice. So without further ado, guys, let's update the name and then we'll get started. We're going to update the build number and the name real quick. Please bear with me because this is a manual process and it's just me. Do you want me to just use your Twitch name? I'm just going to use your Twitch name since I know it. A lot of times I don't know people's names and then I just use their first name. And this is build number 36 for 2025. So Chiral, you are 36 for 2025. 36 builds in the year, and that doesn't seem like a lot since it's already April. But we've had a lot of things happen this year, so a lot of things took my eyes off the ball. Kept me very busy. Can always swap out fans, worst case, if you want the extra RGB. Yeah, you could always do that. Everything else is RGB. I barely look at my cooler block. All good. Good. I'm glad you're okay with that. because that's pretty much all we could get. The only other option was to order one of these from Ireland, which meant I had to go across the big pond, which meant there's a high chance or high probability that it takes a long time to get here and or could get lost. And the shipping was like $100 to get it across the pond, and I'm like, that was the only availability on these things. I don't know why, but Arctic's manufacturing, they go crazy and they pump out so many and they keep up with demand, and then all of a sudden they like take a massive break, like, and they literally let inventory just deplete to zero, and then it sits at zero for like a month, and then finally more comes in. And this is a Arctic trait. This is very normal of them, and it's right around the same time of the year every year, which is around now. So we will start seeing probably these come back into stock around May. But these are still great coolers, and I wish I would have bought more of them and had them on hand, but I didn't. Gigabyte is your favorite brand? Yeah, Gigabyte is one of my I guess one of my more preferred brands right now, especially with AM5. Gigabyte is my preferred brand. First time I've ever used the cooler. I keep seeing good things about it online though. Yes, it is one of the best, and the reason why is because this cooler, the block, has an offset mounting to center up on the hot spot of these AM5 CPUs. So it's centered up on the hot area, the hottest area of the CPU, which is more effective on cooling. So there's going to be a little strip of CPU at the top that's going to be exposed. That's normal because of the offset mounting. It's designed that way for AMD. Matt, I have the B650. It's a very nice board. Yes, they're very nice boards. I'd rather a B850 over a B650 if they are close in price. Exactly. Arctic AIOs rock. They do. They are nice. Matt, those RAM sticks look familiar, don't they? Don't they? These are the Neo sticks for AMD. So these are AMD Expo certified sticks, and I think the ones that you got were not Neo. That is the difference in the name. So if you look, this is a Trident Z5 Neo RGB. The Neo series is AMD Expo certified. The non-Neo is Intel XMP certified, which both could probably run on this board now that DDR5 is finally kind of catching up and is a little more adaptive and a little bit more compatible. So you can run XMPs on AMD boards now very well, and you can run AMD Expo, I believe, on Intel boards a lot better than what you could previously. It was kind of, previously you basically had to run AMD Expo on AMD boards when it first was released, DDR5, and vice versa. So with Intel. Best cooler out right now? Yeah, I think it is. It's a great choice. Yeah, it's gonna really handle this 9800 X3D very nicely, and I think overall the performance out of this beast, including with the fake frame generation from the 5000 series, its raw performance is going to be there very nicely for you. I forgot which country, but you could buy one for 600 below MSRP, but you'd have to fly there. Jeez. Yeah, I $600 to fly there. You're going to be spending, well over MSRP at that point flying out of country. $1440p killer and 4K entry is what I would call it. Because this has, I believe, 16 gigs. So it's got the 4K potential that you could run 4K if you wanted to. So you could dabble in that if you get a 4K monitor and get some performance out of it. Cyberpunk might be, your lowest performer in 4K, but overall it can give you 4K performance if you wanted it. Who's still on 1080p? I mean, this is an excellent 1440p rig if you're running 1440p. But let's go ahead and get started, guys. Let's move the card out of the way. I'm gonna shift the box over so I don't trip on the case. Mr. Max currently has his bed shifted over here, which is typically where I set things. So he's trying to be as obnoxious as possible, like normal. No, it's a black theme loop. So we've got a black case, we've got black components, black fans, black RAM. Everything is black. We're going black with the RGBs. I'm on 1080p, but I get 4K in cloud gaming. Oh yeah, that's right. You do have the cloud gaming option for yourself there. Gigabyte sent back a full stock of 9070s. Did they? Oh boy. We do have a 9070 build coming up here tomorrow, guys. For a very specific, special someone that has been waiting as well. Patiently for the build, which we're waiting on the card. IPS, not OLED. My next upgrade way down the line would be 1440p OLED. Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm still running 1440p on an Asus TUF 32-inch, I believe it is. It might be a 27. No, it's a 32. It's a 32. Pretty sure it's a 32. I can't remember. And 32s and 27s are like not that far apart, because I have a 32 I know here, 1440p, and then I have a 1440p 27 or 32 over there. I can't remember which one it is. I'm pretty sure it's 32. Either way, I have both. I just use the Asus TUF for my primary, and it's done pretty good. It does have some weird quirks to it now. After it's getting older, it started shutting off on me randomly, but I think it has something to do with my cable management on the back. I think it's pulling the power cord, because I wiggle the cord and it comes back on, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. So I think there's something to do with something getting pulled with my cable management, because it's on a monitor stand or a monitor mount, versus mount. And when I move the monitor, I think it pulls on it. So I think that's what's happening. I don't think it's the monitor, because it comes right back on when I wiggle the cord. All AMD 9070 build? Yes, that would be tomorrow, Jesse. I don't know where I got the card from, though. They said no one was buying them. What? No. Dude, aren't you out here enough? What are you trying to do? You trying to, like, live under my feet? You smile at me. Nice. Yes. Alright, so here's our Gigabyte B850. We're going to go ahead and start with our 9800X3D by AMD. Just got home like an hour ago from a very late track meet. Nice. Welcome home. Welcome to the build show, Bazooka. Just in time for build number 2. Do. I went ahead and got a cold plate too. Glad you're doing a build with one so I can see what to do. Nice. It's pretty easy. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the 9800X 3D in here. Just line up the corners, and then there's pegs in the center on the top and bottom of the CPU, and it lines up. We're not going to close it up because we are going to replace the contact frame with a Thermalright AM4 contact frame. I'm sorry, Thermalright AM5 contact frame V2. I remember when I used to use the silly Allen wrenches, but now I have this. And it makes life a lot easier. A lot faster to replace these things. Do do do. That drops right over the top, and then we're going to drop the 4 screws in that come with it. And it includes an Allen wrench, or I'm sorry, not an Allen wrench, but a keyed wrench. Whatever you call this wrench. I don't know the actual size. I think it's a T20. Thankfully, that's scribed on the screwdriver. It's a T20. But it includes it so you can take this off if you ever need to take the CPU out for some reason. There we are. That has been completed, so we'll move on to the next step, which is installing the RAM. Just hand tight down? Yes. So basically you start from one corner and work your way around in kind of like a X pattern. What I do is I back it off to the point where I could feel the thread jump, and then I'll start my turn. And you want to do it as evenly as possible through all 4. So I did a specific amount of turns. I've done it a million times, so I kind of know as I'm turning. But you try to do it as evenly as possible as you're pushing pressure down on the CPU. So back the screw out like you're unscrewing it first before you start. Torx. Thank you, Jesse. I forgot the terminology for it, and I used to be a mechanic. It's kind of dumb actually that I forgot that. But you back it off like you're unscrewing it before you tighten it to find the starting point, basically. And Gamers Nexus actually has a really good video on how to do this, how to install these, and that's the process that I follow, and it's been very successful. So you back it off like you're going to unscrew it, you feel it kind of jump a little bit, that's the thread restarting, and that's when you can start immediately after that. Do one turn here, do one turn here, do one turn here, do one turn here, and then rinse, wash, repeat until you have it tight, hand tight. You don't want to like crank it down like crazy, but you want it pretty tight. So I usually go until my wrist can't make the action anymore at that point, or my hand can't do it anymore. Anything past that, it's too tight. But the important thing is making sure that it is tightened evenly down, because the whole point of a contact frame is to make even contact across all 4 sides to make better contact to the cooler. So that is the point of this entire contact frame. This is my biggest fear, screwing down AIOs, and now that this plate's easy. The only thing I would call out on these plates is if you put thermal paste on the CPU and then you put an AIO or any heat sink on it, any block that goes over the top of this, it's going to smear the thermal paste out. So let's say you take the cooler off and you're planning to take the CPU out with thermal paste on it. Don't do that. Absolutely wipe this down as much as possible. Remove as much thermal paste as you can. Remove the screws and then put your finger on your CPU. So it does not come with the thermal, the contact frame. We do not want the CPU to lift out of the socket with the contact frame, because there is a 99.9% chance it's going to fall off that contact frame when it gets high enough and land right on your pins. So put your finger on the CPU when you remove these, and just lift the frame out with your other hand just enough, and so that the CPU is released from it, and then you could lift the contact frame away and then safely remove your CPU from your socket. So if you ever need to remove this, put your finger down on your CPU, lift the frame out first, you know, with your finger in the middle, making the CPU stay in the socket. Do not try to lift that out without that, especially after you have applied thermal paste, because it will stick and you will lift that CPU out, and that CPU will drop eventually out of that contact frame and right into your pins. I've done it. I have done this, so I'm speaking from experience. Don't do that. I felt really stupid. So, all right. That was a very expensive mistake, because at the time it was a B650 Gaming X AX V2, and at the time they were like 220 bucks. So that was a oof. And I ate that. So, all right. So next up, we could prep the SSDs, which are going to be under this big old block. Actually, let's drop the RAM in real quick before we do that. So that is my advice. Oh, cool. There's a nice little button for the PCIe. That's my advice for the contact frame if you ever have to remove it, and for installation. It's pretty easy. Don't overthink it. Just make sure you tighten it down as evenly as possible. Got me nervous as shit now. Don't be. Don't be. Decent, snug, tight. Decently snug, tight, as Jesse says. Got a new PR in a long jump today. 12 feet, 7 inches. Oh, nice. That is a long distance. I probably wouldn't be able to jump past like 6 feet, to be honest. I'm also very vertically challenged, so that was never one of my gifts. I was, however, very fast sprinting, but it wasn't because I had long legs. It's basically momentum, because I'm always a heavier set guy. My momentum gave me speed. It's just, I wasn't going to run a marathon. Not anytime soon. I was never a marathon runner. I could sprint short distance fast, not long distance. Okay. With this situation, I do actually want to check the motherboard manual really quick, which is going to be online. I know we're going to put a drive in the PCIe. Well, that one says CPU, motherboard. So we're probably going to put the 512 on the motherboard and the 4 terabyte up here. Or the 500 gig. That's probably what we'll end up doing. So I'm pretty sure if we put both on the CPU bound PCIe NVMEs, it'll probably adjust this slot to 8x, and we want it at X8, and we want it at X16. So let me double check that really quick, but I'm pretty sure we're going to do M.2 C and M.2A. So these are labeled A, B, C. Interesting. Be right back. Let me get this answered real quick, like 2 seconds. And for the record, this is a Coke Zero. I'm not drinking sugar pop. Yeah, I needed the fizz. I couldn't live without the fizz. All right, so the motherboard actually doesn't say anything about losing performance on this X16 slot. It's disabling some of the SATA options, but that's it. So I'm going to put the 4 terabyte in the A slot and the 512 in the B slot. That is what I will do. Seven Up Typical Zero is Tropical Zero is pretty dang good too. Found them at my Walmart. I'm trying to delete soda in general, but it's tying me over as I make the transition. The Coke Zero. There's drive number 1, which is our 4 terabyte, and it's an MP44 and the MP44L, 500 gigabyte. We're going to be putting in the B slot. And this is ready to go with all the proper peels. Slide right over the SSDs. When that locks into place, that should be good to go. SSDs installed. Nice. Now let's go ahead and get the mounting brackets for the CPU cooler. So we're going to remove our stock brackets and then break open our cooler box and get our mounting brackets for that. And that's our Arctic Liquid Freezer 3. I hope it's just as good. I got me a tube of Arctic MX4 also, ran out of the Grizzly Crownut. Didn't want to spend more money on it again for the small amount you get. Yeah. No, the Arctic MX is good stuff. We're using the MX6 here on this build tonight, but that's what comes with the cooler. But the 4 and the 6 are pretty much the same paste, honestly. I think there's like a scientific difference between the two, but not enough for me to care, to know about it. All I care about is the actual performance, and it's pretty much the same. It's still good. I think 1 to 2 difference, maybe. Yeah, it's not that big of a difference, if any. I don't know why I'm pasting, because we talked about thermal paste. I'm going to stop, because I'm an idiot. We want to put that on later. It'll be okay, though. Nobody look at it. We're going to zoom out now, that we actually have the parts ready to go. For some reason in my head I was blocking it. Thanks, Tat. Well, let's go ahead and get the case out, and then we will... Oh yeah, we're not going to be using these screws either. We have screws with the King 95 Pro. I'm here, right? Yeah. Alright, let's get the case out. Hello there. Well, those are pieces of the screen still. From the factory. Got caught in the slide. Interesting. Also interesting because there's a screw floating here. Wonder what that came from. We'll set that aside and look. Because the rest of the hardware is separate. Oh man. Forgot the screws here. The rest of the hardware is separate inside the box. Yeah, I wonder what that came from. Definitely wasn't a fan screw. Interesting. I don't see any locations that it would have came from. Okay, well, actually, right here. It came from this bracket right here. So it must have vibrated out during shipping. Interesting. All right. Let's go ahead and drop the motherboard in here. Then we'll get our hardware out. It's the first time I've seen that. It's looking smooth as ice. It's coming together. Hopefully it runs as cool as ice too. It's the mini fridge. I mean, King 95 Pro case. I love it. Nice. Might want to set the motherboard in. Dropping it could break it. I set it in there pretty gently. I set it in there, but it's a good point. I'll keep that 1 to 2 difference. Huge. Ask my wife. Ooh. Thank you for that comment, chat. So Mike Thompson, the build hardware is inaccurate for this build. This is a 9800X3D with 32 gigs of DDR5 memory, which is CL30 6000 megahertz, which is the G.Skill Trident Z Neo RGB. And then we have a Gigabyte Aorus Elite Wi-Fi 7 B850. So the newer 800 series chipset. In a King 95 Pro with a Arctic Liquid Freezer 3 cooler, and where you have matching Montech fans for the cooler. And then we have a 1050 watt power supply with a NVIDIA RTX 5070 Ti tonight. Those specs are wrong. Those are from the last build. Thank you, Jesse. That cooler will keep it cool AF. Yeah, I know, well. Should definitely run cool, stock 9800X3D with a Peerless Assassin. And I'm hitting 51 right now with 2 monitors, Twitch and game. It's such a great CPU. Make me want to have one. Very nice pewter. Yes, sir. It is a very nice system. We've just dropped... I'm sorry, Army Vet. For Army Vet, we've just gently set the motherboard into the case. So we are going to screw this down. I did accidentally, because I had a brain fart for a moment, start putting paste on the CPU. That's why that's there. So instead of having a whole bunch of extra there, I just stopped. So if I bump it or something, I'll wipe it clean. But I'll be pretty conscious about not touching that. I'm just worried about something like a cable flying around and touching it. Looks like somebody took a thermal paste poop right across the CPU. How many threads is the Ryzen 7? So this is a 16 thread, so 8 cores, 16 threads. And this has a maximum boost of 5.2 gigahertz out of the box. So it should boost to 5.2 as needed. If it's not boosting to 5.2, then that means you have a setting wrong in the BIOS, or something's not set right, where not enough power or something is being delivered to the CPU. But basically, you opened up Task Manager, you look at the boost, or you open up OCCT and put a load on it and see what it boosts to. That's probably the easiest way, honestly, to test it. And that's what we run. Need your thumbprint, sir, so we can get into your phone in an emergency. Well, right now, you can't even cross the bridge to get to my phone. You'd have to go all the way around. Didn't they close the bridge for the ice melting? Or there too much ice or something? They had the bridge closed for a bit there. Which actually had me concerned about shipping this. I'm like, is it even going to make it across? I almost want to... It's open as of 8 p.m. Okay. I was worried. I'm like, how long is it going to be delayed there trying to go across? And my Secretary of State number? I'm just kidding. Social Security number? Tried to play dumb. You probably don't want my number. Closed for almost 10 hours. Yeah, I know. I heard it was closed for a bit. Alright, so now that that's done, we can go ahead and start plugging in our front panel stuff. I'm also going to get our cables out for our EPS. 100% for sure going to do that. I know that this cooler, or this case, has a little bit of a rise on it, which helps clearance here, but I'm still going to plug these in so it's not as big of a pain in the butt later. So the EPS cables we'll need, and then we want to get our fans and everything else plugged in before we proceed forward with the AIO installation. And we also have to adjust those cable fans, or the fans on the AIO. We have to remove those and add the new ones. We have USB-C. Just go ahead and do that. This board also includes an internal HDMI connection, which I really appreciate. Just noticed that and thought that was totally awesome. That would be for internal screens, guys. There we go. We've got it all plugged in. So now we can move on to our EPS cable. Super quick. And then we'll work on those. Gas stations up here were crazy today, selling out of gas left and right. Yeah, I know. I heard gas is being a big problem, especially with all the generators running. Feel bad for you guys. We've had an ice storm down here. That was a long time ago. We had the experience. We were out of power for days. I can't even remember how many days it was, but it was like almost a month. No power. Everybody went out and bought generators, and then there was no generators left, and then gas started becoming a huge problem down here, which is even worse, or not as bad, but I mean, because it's harder to get gas up there. But there's so many people down here. So the demand is high, or it got pretty bad. People were selling gallons of gas for like $20 on Craigslist and stuff. I remember that. That was terrible. That was a long time ago, too. Hello, Guy. What's up, Guy? Welcome to the Build Show. Good evening. How are you doing? I'm doing good. How about yourself? Don't know why my chat isn't scrolling there for you, Army Vet. Oh, there we go. Oh, you don't have to add Gaylord as a blocked term, some giant idiot. It's actually a city over here in Michigan. Gaylord is a city. That's what he was talking about. I got automated because... whoops! I'll fix that in a bit. But retype that in a different way. But Gaylord is a city in Michigan. That's what he was talking about. But Gaylord got hit pretty hard. He is one of the good boys, I promise. He's a local of ours. Betarar's board and the King 95 Pro is looking very nice. I'm doing well, thank you. Awesome. Good to hear. We are just getting our EPS cables out so that way we can EPS our motherboard before we put our cooler in, so it's a less of a pain in the butt. It's a less of a pain. But I'm struggling with finding our EPS cables. Ah, here's one. This looks like one, maybe? Nope, that's part of the motherboard. Oops. It's gotta be this one. Nope. This one? Nope, nope. It's gotta be this one. Aha. Got him. Man. What the pains in the butt. We won't need our PCIe cables. Okay. So those are freed up. We can install those. Yeah, Gaylord is actually a city I frequent while we're up north. Because it's got everything you need, basically, while we're up there. Not in the UP, but just about 30... Gaylord's probably about 50 minutes from the bridge, I'd say. But when we talk about the bridge, it's the Mackinac Bridge. Mackinac Island, or Mackinac City, and Mackinac Island. Michigan's scenery. But we like to camp up at Burt Lake and Mullet Lake area. That is our primary camping locations. Why isn't this fitting? Am I just struggling? There we go. We got it. So we got our EPS cables in. It'll help nicely when we go to put the cooler in here. We're going to set this a little bit to the side and get our cooler so we can remove these fans and install the new fans to match the rest of the case. Petoskey lost 630 feet radio tower. Holy smokes. The G-Place had top half of the tower and flake works for them from the isolates. Wow. Fall. Oh, yeah, I got it. It's all good. Michigan, the only place you can drive from Christmas to Paradise to Hell in one day. Yes, literally, those are city names. Christmas, Paradise, and Hell. And then there's eBay City, also. East Bay City. The RGB cable that comes off the hub will go in just any RGB header? Yes, that's pretty much what I just did right there. So I took the sync cable from the hub and I just plugged it into the RGB header at the bottom of the board there. And there's two of them on this board at the bottom, and then there's one at the top here for me. You can plug it into any one of those. But yes, Guy, the board looks really nice in there. So let's go ahead and remove these. We're going to be installing the cooler like so. So we need to make sure the cables for the new fans are on this side of the cooler, which is going to be facing me, this side. We want the cables on this side. So it's important to always make sure you install them on the right side. I'm going to remove these fans. Then we'll get the new fans out. Carol, dinner's done. I love how you're using the chat. And then me to announce it. Carol, the dinner's done. Go eat your dinner. Okie dokie. You know, if we start talking about food in the chat, the rules got to be, you got to bring enough for everybody. Got a bit trigger happy there. Some giant idiot was just waiting for something to happen. He's like, giggity. No, you're good, man. That's why I wanted to explain it. I'm like, that's actually a city. I knew what he was talking about. All right, removing the old fans from the cooler. Well, new, now old. And we're adding the Montech AX120 PWMs, which are going to be identical to the case fans that are currently in the case. So it's going to look the same. And these fans are actually pretty good too, with the performance. I believe they get up to like 1800. 1600 RPM is the max, give or take a little bit. I think the Arctic fans go all the way up to 2000 RPM, but shouldn't need that. Not for this one. Thermaltake fans get up to 1500, so come on up. I'm going to break out the smoker. When you're done, when we're done, all the ice. Nice. Might take you up on that offer. So it does come with a hub. We're not going to use that hub, I don't think. I think we are going to, and we might have to use the hub because there's no splitter for the RGB. Once we can use a hub built in. Decisions. Which budget 280 millimeter AIO should I get? Sorry, I missed that comment the first. I actually saw it, and then I forgot to answer it. Sorry, Ant-Man. The budget 280. I don't deal with a lot of 280 millimeters, honestly. It's been mostly 360s lately, so I don't know. I have to think about that and actually do some research. But I would assume I believe Cooler Master has one, but I have seen so many Cooler Master AIOs fail. I would check to see if Thermalright has any, honestly. I don't know if they do. So I'm just zip tying these cables so that when we put it in, we don't have anything hanging low on us. It's kind of a new tactic I do. Makes it easier to manage it. See how all the cables kind of just stay put, except for this bundle, which is going to go right through that slot anyway. Makes life a little bit easier. So cleaner. AIO screws here that come with the case. So important note, which I know I've said this before, but for any of the new viewers here, if you're building in the King 95 Pro, or King 95 in general, and you mount an AIO here, you definitely want to use the AIO screws that are included with the case. They'll be in your hardware kit, so make sure you look for this little bag if you're installing an AIO. The reason why is because the top, when you go to put the top back on, these are a very flat AIO screw, and it gives you the proper clearance to put the top on. If you don't, and you use the AIO screws that come with the AIO, it doesn't have enough clearance and will cause problems. So that's a good note for anybody that's building in the King 95 Pro. What is your opinion between AMD Ryzen 7 and Ryzen 9 for content creation and gaming high quality graphics? So if you're doing content creation, streaming, aka stuff like that, you are going to want more cores. So the more cores, the better. So I would go for content creators PC if we're going with newer gen hardware, such as the 9000 series. I would go at least with a 9800X 3D. If you can, get up to the Ryzen 9 X3D series, maybe one of those. And that'll give you the best gaming performance with more cores for the content creator PC or the streaming and whatever else you might be doing on there. The best, biggest my case can fit is a 280. All right, I'd have to shop around and look. Yeah, they have, I'm pretty sure they only have 240s. I wasn't sure if they made 280s or not. Cool, thanks. Yeah, no problem, man. Welcome to the build show, by the way. Chill and happy. So my recommendation for you, Chill and Happy, is look at the Ryzen 9s, and if you can get a Ryzen 9 X 3D version in AM5, that would be perfect for what you're doing. You just smoked some corned beef, sliced it up and made Reubens. Oh. You know, if we start talking about food on the stream, you got to bring enough for everybody. For budget, can't ever go wrong with Thermalright, though, I know. But I don't think they make 280s, and that's the biggest cooler he could put in his case, Ant-Man's case, over on YouTube. He's over on YouTube right now. So he's trying to put the biggest cooler he can in the case, and that's 280. And I don't know budget 280s. I just don't deal with enough 280s to be able to answer that question off the fly like that. I'm just being honest, you know. It's not something I typically build with. Usually, I like to go big or go home. That's what my mama always taught me. I love how I always do this to myself, where I have the cooler kind of partially there and don't open the bag of screws, and then I'm sitting here holding it with my wrist as I'm trying to prep the screwdriver. Mom always told me I was special, too. I'm starting to see why. My wife tells me I'm special, too. But these are the screws that come with the case, and that's what I'm using to mount this AIO. And that is going to provide the proper clearance. I'm actually concerned about this. I'm going to reposition this AIO a little bit. I don't like how it's looking. Because I know this is going to get shipped, and I know it's going to bounce around. We need that as centered as possible. I've had screws pull through before, surprisingly. And the radiator just becomes this massive piece of shrapnel that flies around in the case. But we got it centered up now, so I'm a lot happier with it. And obviously, if I'm shipping the PC, I'm putting all the screws in. All right. Since we have the situation with the thermal paste, I'm just going to go straight to blocking before I do anything else. Just to make sure that the thermal paste is covered up here instead of being exposed this whole time anymore. That I have a plastic peel on it? Can't tell. So now we can add more thermal paste. I had issues with those screws and it pulled through. Had to use different screws. Oh. You must not have had it centered up good enough or something. Those are just fine for me. What screws did you end up using? Did you use the case ones or the AIO ones? The case screws is what I used. Missed that. I used the case. Short bus rider. Hey Dan, what's up, man? Welcome to the build show. Wanted to thank you for all your help you gave me. My build went flawlessly. Awesome. Good to hear, man. Well, that's where I went wrong. I used the AIOs. Yeah, the AIOs don't fit the case very well because it's they want you to use the AIO screws that come with the case, and that is specifically for the clearance of the top panel. The top panel will hit the other AIO screws that you had in there. And then the top panel won't close all the way, or very well. It'll pop open and stuff. So it's a clearance thing with the top panel, is what it comes down to. Can't remember what I'm doing with those. There it is. Looking for this. This is our pump, VRM, and CP fan connector from the block. This just plugs in one way. Then we'll add some zip ties to this to make it look nice and fancy, running up to the pump location and stuff. But I'll show you here after I get this screwed down or mounted what I was talking about earlier about the amount of clearance or the space on the top of the CPU. Not to be alarmed ever when you do this, because this is an offset mounting. And also this cooler can be a little bit of a B. Use your imagination for the rest of that word to install, because there's a lot of tension on it. You do a couple turns here and there, go back and forth as you are applying more and more tension onto the CPU. You don't want to go all the way down on one side and then try to do the other. You want to do it as evenly as possible going as you tighten it down. Doesn't have to be like perfect, but even enough. When the case ones went with the case ones and it worked well. Yeah, that's what I was saying, is use the case ones for this case. In this case, use the case screws. That's what will work. Robert Tomaszicki, hey, welcome back to the build show, sir. It's been a while. I heard you have a whole shelf of 9070 XTs for MSRP. I do not have any. I have one here for a build tomorrow. And that is it. That is all I got. I've been having a ton of trouble getting those here. Those cards are like leprechauns at this point, especially at the prices you want to get them at. I have this problem of not knowing how tight something is and overdo it. As long as you're not like me and you over tighten the bolt on the plug that is over the top of your spark plug in your manifold when you're using a 1/2-inch ratchet. I over tightened and broke the bolt, so I had to drill out the bolt. I tried to use an easy out, that didn't work, so I was drilling a little further to use a different sized easy out, and thankfully I got the drill bit stuck in the bolt without breaking the drill bit, and I was able to back the bolt out. So my mistake helped resolve my other mistake. Just in case, use the case when the case is the case. When case is a case. Yes, exactly. You understand it. Thank you. Finally, somebody understands what I'm talking about. All right, so with this connection coming off this block, we have a VRM fan connection for a header. We have a pump header, and then of course we have the fan header for the CPU fans for the cooler. So CPU or fan will go to CPU fan header. I generally will take VRM and put that on CPU option, but I don't see the pump here, or at least I don't see it at the top of the board, which is something Gigabyte does that's obnoxious. They put the pump all the way down here expecting me to do an open loop, which 90% of the time people are not doing open loops now. It's obnoxious. So do we run the cable down like this through the heatsink and then down at the bottom and actually put it on the pump header? Because it won't go over the back of the case and back around. That's just not long enough. So I think I'm going to do that. We're going to be sneaky about this. We're going to run it down here. Nobody will know. And then we'll put this back on. Nobody will know. How would they know? You guys see a cable there? Because I sure don't. Anyway, now I'll put the VRM on the CPU option since the pump header is on the pump header. And then we'll take this excess and stuff it through the top slot here best we can, and we'll zip tie the rest of this up Make it look nice and neat. After we put this block on, so we know our clearance situation. Or the lid on the block, or the hat. Whatever you want to call this. This thingamabopper. And then I need zip ties. More ties needed, my liege. Sneaky beaky like. Yeah. Run it under the shield for M2. Yeah, that's pretty much what we did, man. Oh, did you buy a lottery ticket too? So what with the case ones, and it worked well. What do you mean? Did I buy a lottery ticket? Why do I need to buy a lottery ticket? I'm not here. That's why spark plug is rounded off. Oh, because of the spark plug comment. Yeah, gotcha. Rounded off in my Crown Vic right now. Do you know if using the PWM plug makes a difference with this cooler? I mean, most motherboards are PWM, Matt, so I'm not sure what you mean by that. The broken bolt. Yeah, I caught up. Army vet, I caught up. GeForce Now runs better smooth on Linux, hardly any input lag. That's pretty cool. Maybe I should start making some GeForce Now endpoint rigs. Have them run Linux. This is the way. Go. Got some ties on that. Gonna cut these without cutting the cable. There we go. Can't even tell I ran a cable through down the middle of the motherboard. Better Strategy, what's up, man? Welcome back to the build show, sir. It's been a while. FYI, when I was building my computer, I had an older power supply with only one power input for CPU power, but had an extra GPU power input plug. I connected that to the CPU and it turned on. The system was not happy. Definitely would not be. Thank goodness it just shorted out the power supply, not to toast the CPU or motherboard. The connector is capable of being forced into the CPU power input. That is correct. So you can force a PCIe power connector into an EPS CPU connector because they're both 8 pins. They are pinned differently, so it does take a little bit of force to force it in. So that's why it's very important not to mix up CPU with PCIe for anybody that's newer to building. But thank you for the story. Better Strategy is a good point not to mix those up. Robert, over on YouTube, I'm getting into Linux, generally not so NVIDIA friendly, I'm finding, so hence the 9070 XT comment above. yeah, it's been hard getting those cards, man. I did it because I needed 2 CPU inputs. You actually, this is something to note, Better Strategy, you don't need the second one to boot the computer. You only need the one. If you look in your motherboard manual, it should identify which one's CPU 1 and CPU 2. You only need to plug it into the CPU 1 for the power, and it will boot the PC. CPU 2 is for overclocking. So if you need to draw more power than what the single cable is offering for overclocking, that's what that second connection is for. It's not required to perform or boot the computer and run it at stock. But if you are overclocking, it is required, because that means you're drawing more power than what the single cable can offer. Sent you a DM on Discord. Finally got my RAM, and I did red mod on my 3080. Nice. Yeah, I saw that. Unless you're talking to Onra. 9070 XTs today, but they are 840, 890 before tax. Shipping is rough out here. Yeah, they've gone up in price, man. I had to actually increase my price on the website for them in a build, because the prices keep going up. Like originally, when they first came out, I think I was quoting them for a nicer 9070 XT at like 7 something. Now all the nicer ones are closer to 1,000. It's ridiculous. It's like $899. They went up. On Windows, there was a little input lag depending on the quality of the game. Yeah, I think you mentioned that before with the GeForce Now. I love this case. One of my favorites to watch builds on it. Nice. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Onra. I gotta go, but have a great night, YouTube. Better Strategy, thanks for stopping in and sharing that story. Nice talking to you, too. Take care, man. And for the record, that's Coke Zero, for anybody who just joined us. I am trying to quit the pop, but I can't get past not having the fizz. So I've gotten down to Coke Zero, and I will eventually cut that, but for now, it allows me not to lose my mind. I almost lost my mind last week. It's like I straight up quit pop, cold turkey, and almost lost my mind. Yeah, that's looking pretty nice. All right. With that being said, I think it's 50-70 time. Yeah? How's the Coke Zero? Meh. I don't like the aftertaste. I don't like the aftertaste of any diet type soda, or it just doesn't taste good. Coming from somebody who's used to drink Coke and Mountain Dew all the time, regular, it's hard. It's just not the same. But it has sufficed the itch for the fizz. That's been the big deal. The fizz. Time to install the 5070 Ti. This box is bigger than the case. Drink sparkling water, it has a fizz, I know. It's just expensive. We're supposed to get some sort of carbonator thingamabopper that makes fizz and stuff. So I'm just gonna fizz water basically, or something. I don't know. I don't know. Ugh. This thing is massive. For a 5070 Ti, it's massive. Not gonna need that, but I'll put it in the box for you. Oh yeah, the Gigabyte GPU support bracket stuff. It's great. These are interesting whenever we build these. Apparently we have 2 of these things. I might have to actually look at instructions for this. It says, gaming starts here. Thank you, Gigabyte. We're gaming now. One of the easiest peels I've ever had in my life. Are these peelable? I don't think they are. Maybe they are. They are. They're just a pain in the butt. So it's nice that gaming started there, but gaming does not start quite there. I just want to get the peel off. Gosh. What a pain. SodaStream, you don't want just carbonated water. It tastes like bubbly pond water. I'm drinking water with a sugar-free fruit flavor added. Yeah, that's what I've been trying to do too. I was trying to do that, but I legitimately almost lost my mind last week. But I mean, we had the funeral and all that other stuff as well. It was the first time I was craving a cigarette since I quit smoking. And I was like, I should probably go back to fizz and not go back to smoking. Just for the temporary moment. Alright, so the GPU has been This is a 3-slot card? There's no way. This is a 3-slot card, guys. Didn't see that coming. This thing's massive, Cairo. I didn't realize how big the 5070 Ti is. At least this one. Massive. Look at how big it is. So there is a support bracket. I'm not going to put it in because I'm going to be shipping this anyway, so I got to take this card out and package it to get shipped. So I'm not going to put the support bracket in the stream. But this one does have a support bracket, which is installed on the back end and then back towards the motherboard. And it includes different brackets, sizes for the board, or for the, whatchamacallit, the card, and a little screw kit that comes with it. So, I will put that on there, or try to, before it gets shipped out, so all you gotta do is install it and then put one screw in, basically. And I'll give you instructions on how to do that. Or you could just call me and say, Ben, what do I do? I had to give up sugar due to diabetes and have lost 17 pounds. Nice. I'm giving it up because my knees have told me that I have to give it up. My knees hurt. I used to play football a lot when I was younger, and I used to run a lot. I played baseball, I played softball, I played paintball, played basketball, played soccer. So I played a lot of sports, and I'm a bigger guy, and I've always been a bigger guy. So this weight on my knees put a lot of stress on them, and now they're to the point where they're like, bruh, I'm worn out, so I gotta lose some weight to help them out. That's basically the fix. And I probably will likely still need surgery on the knees eventually at some point, because it feels like bone grinding bone basically on my knees, which hurts sometimes, especially when I bend over and kneel, or you know, go to the ground to like put tire in an air. or squat and try to stand back up, it's just, it hurts like unbelievably bad. How tall am I? I am like 5'8"-ish, 5'9", somewhere near there. And I'm 240 pounds. You have face that you are really good in soccer. I was a goalie, and then I played right wing, I think the position used to be called that, or one of the wings. 5'11" was 240. Yeah, so you're right around where I was chilling. I need to lose weight. It's just been creeping up over the years too. It's been bad. And it's mostly my diet. If you look at my diet, if anybody looks at my diet, you'd be like, how is this guy gaining weight? He's very mobile, active, he does things, he's not just sitting around on his butt all day. And then if you look at the diet, it's not that bad. It's pretty good, actually, all things considered. My wife does a lot of cooking, and she's pretty healthy with cooking, Mrs. Empower. And, that's mostly what I eat. I don't go eat McDonald's or junk food or fast food, and we don't typically purchase fast food, as I have a bag of Fritos over there, but I don't really eat them. I like when I eat a bag of Fritos or a chip, I'll eat like a small, teeny tiny handful, and then I'm done, because when I eat Fritos or chips or fast food or other things, I get heartburn. So I don't eat a lot of it, and because I hate the heartburn, and I hate Tums, and I hate dealing with antacids and all that crap. So I just don't eat it. So that's really it. And maybe my weakness is a Reese's peanut butter cup, other than the soda. The soda is the big problem. It's always been the problem. I don't eat a lot of processed foods, though. That's the thing. So my main thing is to balance my burn rate with my intake. Once I get that balanced, I should be shedding weight. And I think a huge intake of my calories is the soda. I know you can't afford, we try, to eat as healthy as we can, but sometimes it is difficult. But we don't really do a lot of frozen food, and if we do, it's like my daughter's. I don't really eat it. Hold on, I might have seen it. You didn't even see your streaming, man. So I got an update 3 more weeks ago, or 3 more weeks before I either get my PC back fixed or paperweight. Okay. If claims gets denied, it's going to be a paperweight, or I will have to pay for replacement parts. Dude, I'm 6'6", 370. Oh, nice. IR, really need to lose weight. Yeah, I hear you. I need to lose weight too. I'm like 240, 5'8" and a half, almost 5'9". I like to just say I'm 5'9", but I'm not. And I'm 240 pounds, and all my weight's like around my gut, and I carry a little bit of weight up here on my chest. I mean, I don't look fat. I just carry my weight. So it's really bad for my knees. Marine Corps has busted my knees and back. Yeah, that seems to be a common thing, because you're constantly carrying weight, extra weight. The Army did mine. Yeah, I know, Army vet. How's your finger, Army vet? I forgot to ask you that. You busted your finger up. You still walking around flipping people off with a cast? I saw the PC note just a minute ago. Yep. Sorry. I got into a topic and stayed on it. Okay. GPU installed. Now we just have the power supply. And some cable management. Some good old cable management. We're going to go over the top with this one. Going well, still a few flying fingers here. Oh man, might as well come to Florida and join this thing. I was actually down there in Florida a little bit. It was back in February though, but it was a very brief couple of days there. Completely forgot. There was really no time for much of anything else because it was a bachelor party. Unfortunately. I would have definitely tried to meet up some people that are down there. No fancy cable extensions in this build? No, Onra. We are going bare black cables. Make me feel bad, and I think I might surprise him. We'll see. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. So I'm probably not going to go too crazy on the cable management because I got to come back through here for shipping, packaging stuff. That's when I really cable manage all of this effectively. Do. That is so weird. Look at how perfect this is. This hub has the perfect number of RGB ports for this case. Love it. Yeah, I think we ended up over his budget at with the 5070, and then he was like, you know what, go with the 5070 Ti. So we already went well over his budget when we originally started this build, so I was trying to keep everything within reason as much as possible, trying to cram as much performance as we could in here. Trying to respect his budget. Okay, now that we got all that in there, we do need one SATA connector for the hub. SATA power for the hub, but I'm going to go ahead and finish mounting this bad boy to the case. Mike Thompson, you're 6'2", 300. Well, at least you got a little extra height for yourself. I'm not even 6 foot. I'm vertically challenged. Whatever. Definitely gonna have to come back through here, but you get the idea. She's getting pretty heavy. Steve Anderson, sorry I was playing The Last of Us Part 1. I missed the build show. No, you're fine, man. No worries. No need to apologize here. I appreciate you making the effort and stopping in. Hanging out. Saying hi. Bloody hell. We're just getting ready to fire this one up. This is a 9800X 3D build with 32 gigs of DDR5, 6000 megahertz G-Skill Flare, G-Skill Trident Z Neo RGB. So a little higher end RAM, or more higher end. And then a 4 terabyte M.2 with a 500 gigabyte boot drive, M.2 SSD Gen 4s, with a 5070 Ti built into a Gigabyte Aorus Elite B850 Wi-Fi 7 motherboard, and we've got a Gigabyte GeForce RTX 5070 Ti into, what I think I already said that, into a King 95 Pro with a 1050 watt power supply and an Arctic Liquid Freezer 3. And we did use the Thermalright contact frame for AM5, of course. This is build number 2 for the night as well. Alright, so we're going to get it plugged in, and then we'll get a side view going here for you. And then, Kyrell, you got to tell us. You're still hoping all goes well. And then you got to tell us when to fire this thing up. All right, let's see what it looks like with the side view. Because we might have to zoom out. Yeah, we might have to zoom out a little bit here. Oh no. All right, sir. Steve Anderson, I finished Alan Wake 2010. No upscaling. No ray tracing. 4K 200 FPS, and I had a blast. No more new games for me. Looks great. Well, we gotta still fire it up. Hold on. Hold your horses. The moment of truth. Kyrell, you gotta tell us to fire it up. Push that button. Tell me to push that button. It seems to have 3 tubes. One's a power cord. Push thy button. That is why I put that cable there, Onra. It blended so well with the tubes. Ooh, pretty. Hell yeah. What an insane AIO with 3 tubes. I know, the power of the trio. Move that bus. That's so freaking beautiful, isn't it? It is pretty. Looks sweet. Nice work, Ben. Thank you, Jesse. We do have a post, the most important piece, not just the looks. And I'm gonna push the, where's the LED buttons on this thing? I'm gonna tell it to sync. There we go. We're syncing it to the motherboard. So the GPU actually lights up the fans underneath only when they're spinning. So as the fans are spinning on the GPU, they light up. If the fans are not spinning on the GPU, they do not light up. So that's an important note for you, Kyril. They don't always turn on. They only turn on when the fans are spinning. That is a Gigabyte design. Then they flash. Very distracting, especially if you have it in vertical. I feel like they're distracting, especially if you have the case or the build right next to you while you're gaming. It's like constantly flashing in your face. Wow, it's beautiful. Thank you, Steve. Thank you. Sounds good. Yeah. That's kind of distracting, but can get used to it. Yeah, I mean, you won't see it, you know, with the way it is now, facing down. But if we put the card in a vertical position instead of horizontal, if we went vertical, it would be extremely distracting. This is amazing, but wish for a white case. Yeah, no, I've done white builds like this in this case before. I thought that this build would have taken a longer. Yeah, so did I. I was thinking we're going to be done around 12:30. We're about 15 minutes early. I said 12:30, I think is what I was thinking. So we're about right. And I did talk a lot about my diet. It's kind of distracting, but yeah. Looks like it will stay cool. Oh yeah, this thing should definitely stay cool. I like the design of these Montech fans with just the rings like this. They look nice. So we're in the BIOS. I see A2, B2, 32 gigs. Obviously see the CPU, see the RAM, see both of the drives. I see the X16 slot running in PCIe 5.0 X16. In the BIOS, it's actually listing that, which is kind of nice. Whereas on the ASUS board, we were looking for it and we'd struggle just to find that info. So yeah, everything's there. What's the total cost in this build? I think we were... I'll let Kyril in Twitch answer that. If he puts it in Twitch chat, I will say it. I just don't want to like spit out a number because I know his dad's in the chat and I don't know if his dad knows the number. And I don't want to be responsible for getting him in trouble. Got a killer PC, dude. Congrats. I am Switzerland in this situation. And I didn't talk him into it. He talked himself into the 5070 Ti, for the record. I'm a terrible salesman. I don't usually talk people into things. I usually talk people out of things. Looks quiet also. Yeah, it's pretty quiet. Pretty quiet. That white PC is like super whisper quiet. It's super quiet. That I posted in the Discord. The white and black build that we did about a week ago or so now. That's how Gigabyte controls our mind. Yuri. You guys remember Yuri's Revenge from Red Alert? That 5070 is no joke. What gigabyte is it? It's a 16 gigabyte graphics card, and it has a massive cooler from Gigabyte, so it is a 3-slot card. Actually bigger than 3 total slots, but to mount it, it's 3 slots. My dad knows Google, so I can just tell him anyway. So I think after taxes, it was 3,300. Yeah, something like that with the shipping and all that. This is a 5070 Ti, Steve, by Gigabyte. So it's the Gigabyte Gaming X. 5070 Ti. How many HDMI inputs? I'd have to lean over there and look. Hold on. It looks like just the one HDMI and then 3 display ports total. Yeah, the graphics card alone was $1,000. Just to give you an idea of the price point there. The CPU was just north of 400. And the board was another 300, or under 300. It was like 2 something. The SSD was not cheap. That was a 4 terabyte. So that was like 240. Right? Yeah. She's a beast. Yeah. Not a cheap, but a beast. Yeah, 16 gigabytes of GDDR7. And we missed a huge opportunity just now. What was that? Wouldn't need another PC for a long time. You know, you would not need another PC for a while. And I think that was what Kyrill's trying to do. He's trying to definitely trying to make it so that he doesn't have to buy another PC anytime soon. So Mike, what's up, man? Welcome back to the build show. Were you here earlier in the chat? I feel like I saw you before. Too much wait for the PCIe slide in Q4. I know, or the price to slide in Q4. Sorry, I'm reading pretty far away from the chat. That PC is gonna be good for a long while. Oh yeah, future-proof for, yeah, especially being on the socket AM5, on the B850. He's got years to go on this PC. People will spend more money or more than this on a PC, believe it or not. Oh yeah, oh yeah, they will. We just did a $5,000 PC, you know, about a week and a half ago. These overclock nice also because of the GDDR7. Good to know. Good to know. Hello, bro. I'm looking to upgrade my processor. Can you help me? Yeah. What motherboard do you have? That would be the answer. What motherboard do you have and what CPU cooler do you have? Salute to the Empower wifey. I will. I'll make sure that gets over to her. I don't think she's watching right now. She's probably, I think, putting one of the girls to bed. Would be cool if she slides in and says hi to us. She's putting the girls to bed right now, so... or they've already been in bed, and she's probably in bed sleeping also. These overclock nice also? Yeah. Yeah, let me know what motherboard you have. And if you're not sure, feel free to drop into the Discord and ping me there. And then I could just do a one-on-one chat with you and walk you through figuring out what motherboard you have and what CPU cooler you have, and we can figure that out for you. Mike, yo, not this Mike. Prices should start to come down by midsummer. And the secret now is to look for bundles, including with open box options. Yeah, I know. But when you're building new PCs for people, you kind of can't always, you know, you got to avoid open boxes because you're building new. I enjoy your stream a lot. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll try to tell Mrs. Empower sometimes she has to stop in. You've got a B450 Pro VDH Max. Okay. And I have a normal fan that comes with the processor. So that means... Oh, thank you for the follow over there on the Twitch. So that means you have a AMD Wraith. Probably a Wraith or a Wraith Stealth cooler. Processor, it's from 2019, but I have a 3060 RTX 3060 with 32 gigs of RAM. Or is that a 3600? Ryzen 5 3600. I'm assuming it's 3060 RTX 3060. And it'll get 50 to 60 frames on Warzone, and told me it's my CPU, so yeah. So yeah, if you pull up your task manager while you're gaming and your CPU's pegged at 100%, it's definitely the CPU. The CPU is causing your bottleneck on the graphics card. But yes, your graphics card, being the 3060, should be getting more than 50 or 60 frames per second in 1080p. So many matching lights. Dang. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Thanks for jumping in and dropping a chat. So that's definitely the CPU, if you pull up your task manager and verify that. But the B450 is a good board. The reason why is because it's AM4. AM4 can be updated all the way to the 5000 series CPUs. So you could do a 5600. You could do... Hey, what's up, Young Joe? Welcome to the Build Show, sir. Welcome back. You could do for example, you could do a Ryzen 5 5600X. That would probably be the best budget CPU, or 5600, for your board. The downside is, one, you absolutely have to do a BIOS update, assuming that you don't have the most recent version of BIOS on that B450M. If you do, then awesome. Then all you have to do is drop the CPU in. But if you do buy a new 5000 series CPU and you go to put that in there, make sure you do the BIOS update before you drop your new CPU in. Because if you don't, there's a high probability that you drop your new CPU in and it boots to a black screen and doesn't do anything. And it's because you need to update the BIOS to make it compatible with the newer CPUs, which is the 5000 series. Yes, it would be compatible. Yep, the Ryzen 7 5800 XT would be compatible with the B450M, yes. But you have to do that BIOS update. The better CPU for gaming would be the Ryzen 7 5700X 3D or the Ryzen 7 5800X 3D. If you can find either of those CPUs, which they're getting harder and harder to get, but if you can find either one of those, that is going to give you the most performance on that socket. So the Ryzen 7 5700X 3D or the Ryzen 7 5800X 3D, I could drop that in the chat for you. Either of those will give you the most performance on your motherboard, but you definitely have to do that BIOS update before you install it. So before you pull your old CPU out, make sure you do the BIOS update and then install your new CPU. And if you need help doing the BIOS update, drop into our Discord and then hit me up and I can show you how to do it. Somebody... Oh yeah, it's... I think that's command. Discord, yeah. Should be. If I spelled it right. Can't see. Does anybody know the Discord command? Yeah, I got a new build. It's the Ryzen 5 R5K. Yeah, I know, Kyrell. It's kind of awkward. I should have spat out our Discord link. The R7K, I don't know if my chatbot died or something. Where's the Empower AI? It's exclamation point Discord, I thought. Thank you, some giant. I don't know why it's not spitting. But you can join the Discord and hit me up whenever you're trying to do the BIOS update if you need help with it. Thank you, Army Vet. Thank you, some The chatbot's supposed to spit it out. I don't know what the deal is with the chatbot tonight. I'll have to go smack it a few times. Yeah, I got the new builds, Ryzen 5K, our 7K Raptors discontinued, DDR4 cheap, DDR5 low frequency cheap overstock of cases, mid-tier PSUs, mid-shelf BDS, and SGPU start to use and upgrade later. Yeah. Okay, I joined. LMO, thanks, dude. Yeah, thank you. Lots of Discord options. Yeah, they're different links, but they take you to the same place, I believe. The best of the best for that socket is going to be the 5800X3D. The second of the two processors that I listed there. That'll give you the most performance on that socket. Mike says, or build a new PC and use your old GPU until later this year. Yeah. Then the motherboards that take 12, 13, 14 gen CPUs, are they just drop-ins, or will they need something else that needs to be done in BIOS? So yes, you would probably need a BIOS update if you have an old, say, like one of the first 600 series chipset boards. To get to a 14th gen CPU, you probably have to do a BIOS update. I can't remember. I thought you had to do a BIOS update for 14th gen on like a 600 series chipset if it's like old and has a super old version. But most of them nowadays have been cycled through, and you probably will get one with a newer BIOS version that has it all on there. So Z790 will take 12th and 13th and 14th gen. Same with the 600 series. And what about an SSD? I heard SSDs, M.2s are like the best. Yes, they are. They are the fastest form of storage, but your motherboard B450 does not support PCIe 4.0. So, even though the CPU being Ryzen 7 5800X3D supports PCIe 4, your motherboard does not. So you would just stick with a PCIe Gen 3 SSD to save some money, since your motherboard doesn't even support it, unless you plan on upgrading that, which you'd go to a B550 or an X570 motherboard, and then you could get PCIe Gen 4 with that new CPU that I listed. These Micro Center prices on the 5090s are sad. Stock just sitting there. I know, because nobody wants to buy them at that price. It's stupid. I mean, go buy a car instead. It's just, you could buy a car and go race it at a fair. Hell of a lot more fun than having a 5090. I still have an old ASRock motherboard and AMD Bulldozer CPU laying around. Nice. I wonder why the PNY is cheapish. PNY has always been that way, though. They've been pretty strict about keeping their prices down. They've always been like that. PNY and Zotac, usually. Supposedly, they are releasing a massive stock of new 5000 series cards to hit the shelves, which should lower the cost somewhat. Yeah, we should see. Also, NVIDIA announced a drop in their prices on their Founders Edition. So a 5070 Founders Edition is supposed to be like $399. Just an FYI. That was announced. I don't know how true that is, but that's what I saw. So we'll see. They're undercutting everybody else. Paris, New York. Huh. Didn't know that. If that's true. Some giant idiot. It's a Z790. If I need a BIOS update, how will it be possible if the 12th gen isn't detected? 12th gen will be detected, Tat. That won't be the problem. It's going the other direction. That's usually the problem. 12th gen should be detected out of the box, no problem. And if you did need to do a BIOS update and your CPU wasn't detected, you should have the QFlash feature on the back of the board, which is prepping your flash drive, plug it into the back, and then pushing the flash button on the back of the motherboard, and then it should flash the BIOS for you. Jesse, I still have an FX 8370. I had one of those. I sold it a long time ago. I actually got the Jesse, did you get a check from AMD as well? It was like a $5 check for the lawsuit. Because they mismarketed it as a 8-core processor and it wasn't. Wonder if PC will be inside of keyboards again in the future, like Amiga PC. I heard CPUs will have fast GPUs built in. Who knows? Well, some of the onboard GPUs are actually pretty good. But, I mean, for us serious gamers, we like to play at 1440p. You know. Ryzen 5 5600X. Yeah, that's also a good chip, but, I mean, the X3D with the 3D V-cache processors are going to be the better chips. Supposedly they are releasing... Oh, yeah, we already said that. Say, what is my sales close incentive if I buy the CPU and 5090 from you right now? And for mid-self BD builds, you can get is for free as sales close you have to ask. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Mike. No, I don't think so, LOL. I think that was back at... Comes with 12th gen compatibility. It released with the 13th gen, mostly likely should work with 14th gen too, but you should update the latest BIOS 13th, 14th gen anyway. Yeah, you should just update the BIOS anyway, Tat. Regardless. But it should detect the CPU out of the box. I prefer playing at 4K, not 1440p. I think 4K is too expensive in my opinion for the hobby, still. So, I still play at 1440p. I mean, all I play is PUBG and Beyond All Reason. And sometimes old school, original Call of Duty 1 multiplayer. Which technically doesn't even support anything over like 1024 by 768, or no, the bigger one. 1600 by something. It's weird screen resolution, but there's a fix for it. I get the same FPS if I have a CPU and no SSD. Nah. You will get the same FPS, yes, but your load times are going to be less. And if it's like if you're playing a game like Call of Duty and it's trying to stream the textures, that actually might impact your performance, because it's reading and writing on the drive as you're playing. So yes, that could actually impact your performance in a way. Mid-shelf boards. Yeah, but what do you mean by that? I'm confused. Say, what is my sales close incentive if I buy the CPU and 5090 from you right now, and for mid-shelf boards, you can get is for free as sales close. You have to ask. I'm not sure what you mean by that statement. Not following. Steve, a Ryzen 5 4500, RX 6600, 16 gigs of DDR4, and you can have lots of fun around $500. I know. It's a great $500 build. You define your own bundle deal? Where do you define your own bundle deal? Where's that? When's the next stream, bro? We're going to be streaming tomorrow probably starting around the same time, around 8 p.m. I was trying to start around 7 today, but that didn't work out. I had to run out and grab a card, and then I got back and I had to eat dinner, and then finally got the stream started around 9. But I'm going to try to start the stream tomorrow around 8 p.m. Eastern time. So we have a 9070 build to do tomorrow for somebody who's been waiting on this one. It's a 9070 with a 9700X CPU. Well, that's interesting. Where is that? I bet wifey cooks good. Yes, she does. Right now we're eating leftovers from the funeral, but that's you know, right for now. Brokers mainly, but you could try it at Micro Center. I've never been able to negotiate anything like that. Maybe if you complain about the board that they have in the bundle, but Micro Center is really stingy right now about how many bundles you can buy and actually how many CPUs you could buy and how many graphics cards you could buy. Meaning if I go in there and I buy a graphics card from Micro Center and a CPU, I will not be allowed to buy another CPU or another graphics card for 30 days. And they track that crap unless you have somebody else go in there and pay for it under a different account. It is stupid. Went to my cousin's funeral at 1 p.m. today. Yeah, we had a funeral yesterday for my Mrs. Empower's mom, actually, that passed away. So. It was a long couple of days. But I'm sorry to hear about your cousin. Yes. We went through all that yesterday. Well, guys, Carol, I hope you like the look of your builds. Now we just gotta get it across the finish line and then get it shipped for you. Oh, man. That's even worse. I hate hearing younglings passing on. The other option is a board card RAM and ask for the 7600 for free because Micro Center pays nothing for them. They don't pay anything for a 7600? What do you mean they don't pay anything for them? Yeah, we're praying for everybody. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that as well. If I was close, I'd just come grab it. No, it's about a 10-hour drive, I think, from that area. I can't believe that, Mike. I didn't know that, at least. Round trip, yeah, it'd be a long drive. In a full line AMD purchase 7700 under cost nothing. Wow, that's interesting to know. Didn't know that. Just top off of a few other places worth it, yeah. In a full line Raptor purchase, 13600 costs $39. That I could believe, yeah. I know they're cheaper. They make a ton of money on those chips. And then you can also get him to sign your computer. I will sign this computer. Actually, chillin'. I'm going to be signing Kyrell's computer here before it ships. But even under the costs, it's something. I know it's got to be something. I can't believe Micro Center would give something away like that for free. But Micro Center does not negotiate like that, at least the one over here in Michigan. I don't see them ever. They're pretty stingy. They get pissed off if I buy 2 CPUs in a month. And that's paying full price. Just the CPU. You know, back when 9800X 3Ds were really hard to get. And I walked into a Micro Center the day after I just bought one, and I was going to go buy another one, and they would not let me. They straight up told me to go pound sand. Even though they had full inventory. But all right, guys, I'm done for the night. It's 12:46 a.m. here. We got 36 builds tonight. We will have another build tomorrow night. We'll have a 9070 build with a 9700X. So it'll be a really awesome View Infinity build from our website that we're going to be doing for an awesome local customer again. And then Thursday night, I'm planning on doing another kind of build to your drop stream, which I have 3-ish. I have a few inventory builds here, so Thursday night would be inventory builds, and then Friday I'm getting all 4 of my wisdom teeth pulled, which means again through the weekend I'm probably not going to stream unless you guys want to hear me talk like that throughout a stream. Also being drugged up, trying to build a computer. Might be funny. Might be entertaining. 8:46 p.m. here in Alaska. Oh, man. That's right. I always forget you're over there. Probably still bright. Well, I guess it's still... Is it winter still for you guys, or is it dark? I feel like it's got to still be dark, or maybe it's bright out there. You recruit corner fruit stand sellers and pay them $10 per card. And then... That's too much work for me, Mike. Thanks for the video ban. You're welcome, Mike Thompson. Steven. They do make sure Micro Center gets plenty OG cards. Yeah. Sunset is 10 p.m. Yeah, I knew it was pretty late for out there. Have a great night. Thank you. I'm tired, guys. I gotta go. I appreciate everybody. Thank you for hanging out. I will tell everybody. I'll make sure the wifey knows everybody says hi. Thank you again, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night. We'll do the 9070 build. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for hanging out. I can't find the button. Where's the button? Good night, guys. Thank you, Mike, for the secrets. I will see what I can do with them. Have a good night, guys.